You're now listening to the Palmetto Dugout Show, hosted by State Director Sammy Esposito, Associate Scouts Drew Stewart and Sean Smith, that discuss all things related to amateur baseball in South Carolina. Here are your hosts.
Welcome in to episode 72 of the Palmetto Dugout Show. Austin is live from Augusta, and Coach Espo is live from we don't even know anywhere anymore.
You know, I do have what I was just told before we went live that Elton John is coming in to play a concert for me back behind over here. So we're ready to roll. But you know, it's Austin instead of Sean for you avid listeners out there.
Yeah,
so we gotta change up our our intro.
If I can't get on the intro thing, I'm gonna stop showing up, and I'm just gonna stay over here and enjoy my tea time with Tiger. So, thank you.
Austin's about to shoot the course record above.
Yeah. I'll have my green jacket when we start next week. So, stay tuned.
You'll see him out and about with a green jacket on. Austin is finally back on the show. We've moved it to Sundays now to kick off this beautiful high school season. But first here, we'll turn over to Sammy because he's got so much to say with PSA.
Okay. Coach, so much to say. We're back. We had a little bit of a hiatus, a little bit of scheduling conflicts between us all, but we're right. A couple weekends back, we finally finished up our preseason All-State tour with down in the Shipyard preseason All-State South, and I think we probably can all three argue with talent-wise between the two, but both of them equally as talented. Obviously weather standpoint, the one in Charleston was obviously a lot better, 70 degrees, and I think our BP thrower was a lot better. Was probably a little bit more talented than a lot of them out there, but from a talent standpoint, it was phenomenal up and down the board. From heck, we had a couple 28s down there all the way up to some 24s across the board. And we've had a bunch of content going out, some stories. We still got a few more to finish out some of these things. And, you know, Drew, we joked about it last time after the preseason All-State North, and it was the same with this one, right? The phones were blowing up following it, talking about some guys. And, it's amazing. We got some guys that stand out and have progressively getting better and better and better. I mean, the one off the top of my head he was one of the first guys to throw was Max Whitmer, right? I think he was there last year and he was like 84, 86. And he comes back out and he's 88, 89. Right. And those are some fun ones. Jacob Ammon from the bat, right? It's another one. He goes 6'7", I think, right? Austin, you were over there with the 60 and the jump, and it's a 6'7", and it's, great BP, and he shows good actions in the infield. Where's he going to play defensively? Only time's going to tell, but he shows plus athleticism and with the bat really stands out. But, a lot of those guys, we had a great returning group from the junior future games that come back. Rome Dorenzo, Trip Ostergaard, Braden Richardson. I'm going to leave out a bunch of names, but we had a bunch of those guys that came back and have made strides and leaps and bounds of making those big jumps from guys that really, turned some heads at the junior futures and going in the right direction, heading, as they're rolling into their freshman year and getting in a lot of these guys, their first varsity starts and first varsity seasons. But it was a big time event. I think we ended up, we had about 110 registered. We had a few guys that, had some injuries or some things didn't come up to the bat. So right around 100 kids showed up. So it was a tremendous talent group. Big time shout out one to you guys, the staff that, helped that thing run smoothly for us. So I want to thank you guys, but a big time also shout out to the Shipyard for running that thing over and also turning the lights on for us while we're down there as we're rolling with that, because, we had big time numbers, and then also shout out to the players and the parents that were able to come down there, right? The last free weekend before high school baseball starts in the state. And we have that kind of turnout, to where we can, the guys can come out there and put up big time numbers. And we added a few things with the height and weight, and then also the grip strength and the jump. And, a lot of those things are starting to add into the profiles and kind of get some things. And people like saying, what does some of those things mean, right? And you're kind of starting to see where they're progressing across the board. You know, I was just up at our, you know, big national event this last weekend, the Super 60, and you can kind of compare where some of these younger guys are at state-wise with some of these national, extremely high-profile guys that are going to be draft guys, and you can see, you know, some of that grip strength, some of the jump stuff, some of the 60 stuff, and see where they match up nationally. And I think that's kind of neat. And we were on a call the other day with, you know, going over that Super 60, and I said that's one thing neat for me. I get to go to that, and I can kind of compare our guys to kind of see where they match up, because sometimes we get our blinders on in our state. You know, you just get pigeonholed in where we're at, and you kind of can get out there and you go, okay, if our guy was here, how would he match up? And you know, a lot of our guys would fit right in. And I know that we don't really get a chance to get up there just because high school baseball started a lot of the time, so it makes it difficult for them to get up there. But we'd have some guys fit right in. But we're still diving in and getting in there, and it makes it nice because we are, you know, fortunately, unfortunately, however you look at it, about to dive back into some rankings here shortly. So these preseason all states are huge for us to get in there and see some of these numbers, see these guys progress into where we can update these rankings.
And you don't want to foreshadow too much here, but I think as a staff, we learned a lot about James Allen in that event.
Whew, did we ever? I feel like, yeah, we ain't going to say too much about it, but man, every guy that rolled out there, one, they fit the bill of how they looked in the uniform, how they get off the bus, and then two, they fit the bill of how they performed. I mean, it was impressive. That group, you know, if the way they performed at our event, if they continue that, and from an individual standpoint, and they put that into some team stuff, watch out now. They got a chance to do something special. And I think we're going to have a chance to see them right off the bat this upcoming spring.
Coach, watch out. Me and Austin are going to be so thrilled to be staying together for 3 days.
Somebody picked them to win that tournament last year and caught a lot of heat for it, but I'm doubling down on them.
We ain't even got to the pick 'em, and he's making picks.
You know,
Austin has already started feeding people social media campaigns for the tournament, like he did last year.
I'm just here to give the people what they want. That's what we're here for.
Coach, the best time of the year is upcoming, Coach. Baseball's already started for these Division II JUCO colleges in the state, and D1 about to gear up here this coming weekend.
Coach, Masters is coming up. More importantly, I mean, me and my son gets up last night where I'm sitting there, and the best time of the year. I'm hopping on the Division II scoreboard, and I'm checking out scores, and my son's like, "Are you looking at scores?" Right, and we're scrolling through, and we're checking the scores, and then he's like, "What about junior college? Let's look at junior college." And I'm like, but you don't, you know, he's 11. I'm like, do you gonna know any of these scores? And he don't care, right? It's neat. You just kind of get to look at these, you know. And then for me, I started looking at box scores because you go back right over the past few years. Some of the kids that have come to some of our events that we've kind of, you know, followed around and got a chance to watch over the years and kind of see how some of them have done. And it, you know, it makes it neat. You know, Drew, you sent me something last night, right? You know, Landon Peavy and Josh hit their first career home runs last night. You know, a couple kids that we've seen over the years that we, you know, whether they've come to an event or whether we've seen them in high school, you know, it makes it kind of neat to be able to follow those guys. But yeah, you know, this Friday Division I cranks up, but Division II, heck, they're 2 weekends in, and same with junior college. So it's a lot of excitement rolling in, and then high school baseball scrimmages have started up. So watch out now. It's a busy time floating around the state.
Busy time, Coach. Scrimmage is underway. The 23rd starts preseason tournaments, where I'm sure I'll be out somewhere. Very busy time for the SC staff. Then we got high school previews next week too.
I think there's a tournament coming up this coming weekend too, and up here. I think.
Breaking news. We got some breaking news up there.
Look the banner.
Can we elaborate a little bit more on this? Are you talking about like from Augusta, or are you talking about like from the upstate?
No, usually we wait and kick things off over here like into March, early April, and that's usually what we do. WrestleMania is coming up too. No, I think I might have misread somebody's schedule. That tournament, I don't know what they named it, but it's the one that Greer and West Oak, Pickens, Berea, all those guys they play in. I'm pretty sure it's this weekend.
I think that's next because
I don't.
Walhalla's in it.
That's what I meant. Not this weekend. Like obviously,
The
nobody's
following
playing.
weekend.
This coming weekend, maybe.
I think it's the week after that one.
I tried
But
not to
okay.
give any details, but y'all were prying for details, so I tried to give some, and I think I was wrong. But
Austin's not the scheduling person here.
no, I just go where I'm told.
Hey, we obviously go ahead, Coach.
It's good. That first full weekend, it's good. Austin will be down here in the Lexington Midlands area. He'll be knocking out Thursday. He'll be running around between Lexington High School and River Bluff. And then he'll be barreling down 26 to go stay in a wonderful hotel with Drew for the Shipyard for Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday.
We're going to be
And he'll go
staying in
home.
Mount Pleasant, too. We're going to make that. We're going to speak it into existence.
Guys, we'll be on Ashley Phosphate Road if you need us. Hey, wait, that weekend before you got the Palmetto Classic now, Coach, renamed from the Shock City Invitational. And then you got the Steve Sanders, 2 big tournaments in the upstate as well.
2 big ones. And then I believe the RBI is cranking up around that same time frame too. So you got, we joke about it every year, right? Now, we're not going to do it, but if we were extremely lazy at our job, we can knock out a lot of high school baseball in the first 2 weekends of the preseason tournaments and then just rest till the spring break tournaments. But you sit there and look over those first 2 weekends with the preseason tournaments, and you got some great baseball around this state, and allows some. I'm obviously we're a little biased in the great state of South Carolina, but the way I think our state does it with the scheduling standpoint allows these teams to play in some of these tournaments to get some outside competition to where it doesn't affect their chances of in the playoffs, right? Some of these other states in the surrounding areas, every game kind of affects their chances of getting in the playoffs. So, you go play a tough team, non-region team, and you lose, right? It maybe affects your chance of getting in the playoffs. Well, a team comes down to the Shipyard and they go, 1-3 or whatever, and they don't get in the playoffs. They're not going to want to come back and play in a tough tournament. Well, we want those teams to come back and play in tough tournaments, whether they do well or not, whether they win it all or lose. You want good teams, good competitions, whether it's our tournament, right? Or, you talked about the old school Shock City or the Steve Sanders or whatever it is, the Optera we're going to be covering. You want good teams and good tournaments, to where some of these teams are going to position themselves to where they can better themselves and get some guys, some at-bats, some innings pitched, especially, right, playing 4 games over 4 days. It's a lot of baseball, and I think last year, I was watching, Optera, I think Lexington, they had already positioned themselves to be in the championship game of that thing, and Coach Hucks and his crew, they were able to throw some younger guys, to get those guys experience so they didn't have to waste some guys in the championship. But that's big time for those guys moving forward and gets those guys experience that they would normally never get. So these preseason tournaments are not only big from, the development standpoint, but also getting these guys, even though it's at the beginning of the year, getting them ready for the end of the year.
Tells you what you got early and what you can continue to work on. And a lot of the Power 25 teams that we are about to unveil here will be present early in all of these preseason tournaments that we're covering.
And we'll get to see how Coach Lever's developing them arms down there. Coach. Speaking of, I know I said I wasn't going to go there, but I'm going to go here real quick. I promise it'll be fast. I got to looking at the schedule for the River Bluff Lexington. I believe it's the Optera Solution Tournament on Thursday. Last year it started at Lexington, then we went over to River Bluff, and by the time I got to River Bluff, we'd already eaten, and they had the huge spread of food over there. Well, this year it's reversed. So we could potentially eat at River Bluff before the 12 o'clock game and after the 3:30 game. Mm-hmm. So we could get 2 meals in up there.
Coach, you also – so you missed last year because you were unsure. Lexington also has a great spread in their press box.
I can't say it's as good.
I'm not going to say it's as good or better than or worse or whatever than
Right.
River Bluff, but it's a great spread as well.
Yeah, we
And
didn't. I was
you
unaware.
missed the morning because the day you go, but the Friday, Saturday when I go, the morning they got great breakfast. So
Well,
I mean,
if you can
back
imagine the
to the concession
disappointment that I
report.
had, went to Lexington, didn't know they had food, left trying to get to River Bluff in a hurry because we were trying to go watch Somerville and River Bluff play, and stopped at like
Probably
a
wish I could
QT and ate an egg roll or something, which is nothing against QT egg roll, but it's got nothing on the River Bluff spread up there. And just great people down there too. So,
Oh my gosh.
good baseball as well.
Austin, we
I'm
hope you
done.
continue the concession stand or food report as we move into the new year.
We'll have
Yeah.
something. We'll get something. We'll see.
We'll see.
I don't want
Well,
to give away anything.
welcome back to the show, Austin. It's been we haven't had this much fun in a long time. So hopping into the Power 25, Coach. Obviously, if you won a state championship last year, it didn't necessarily mean you were in the top 10 this year, correct, Coach?
Correct. It's not about what you did last year for us. It's about what you got going on now. And obviously we commend people on what they did last year, and that's huge. That's one thing you'll never be able to take away from anybody, right? You go out there and you did what you did, and especially right, it's not like in high school baseball and anything like college baseball where you can go out there and reload. A lot of times you're at the mercy of what
Are
you
you
got.
sure?
Come,
You sure about
come.
that?
Well, yeah. Well, you know
Right.
what? No,
Keep
not.
going.
It's
Keep going.
there are people that are still out there recruiting, but it's not as much. The transfer portal is not as hectic, I should say, as college baseball. It's still a little bit, but yes, it's more so a little bit of what you got coming through the system. But yeah, it is about what you got now and what you got coming back. So yes, what people did last year, we commend them on it, but that does not equal you being number one again to start the year. So it'd be different if you won it and you return everybody.
And we add on to you got the Power 25 this year, but we're adding on top 10 in each classification this year as well. So watch out.
Wait a minute
little
now.
change from last year. But you have to, what does Austin always like to say? You got to buy what, Austin, to see that?
You got to subscribe.
Oh, if you don't have a subscription, you never know. Right. I thought for a second you were putting in a plug for like your Tigers buying stock in Clemson right now. I just buy stock in PBR, South Carolina right now.
Austin's off. He's got time to catch up here.
I'm still thinking about my round I got coming up here.
You got to get it in before the kickoff.
Yeah.
So we'll break these down 5 at a time. Coach, anybody can talk about any team here. So let's roll it 21 through 25. Wando at 25, Southside Christian at 24, Crescent at 23, Ashley Ridge at 22, Nation Ford at 21. Which one sticks out to you guys?
I think Ashley Ridge. I'm talking a little. Ashley Ridge, I think, is a little bit, and I'm gonna go. I hate using the term sleeper because I think they're good. A lot of people kind of knock them down a little bit. Like, right, they lost Chase Striker, they lost, but they got some younger guys coming through the pipeline that they got some big arms that are going to be able to, fill some shoes. I'm not going to say people are going to fill Chase Striker shoes. I mean, the numbers he had last year were kind of sickening, right? I mean, he was like video game numbers he had, but they got some young guys, that are coming in and that are going to have a chance to be big time arms, right? They got a 26 that's 86 to 88, 89. That's going to have a chance to be a power arm right hander coming through there, and they always got dudes. It's just coming through there. So they're kind of a team that, I hate saying on the outside looking in, but they're kind of on the bottom down there, but got a chance to to do some damage. And that's maybe why they're a little bit down there, because they maybe have a little bit of unproven guys, but I think they got some guys that are going to be able to make some noise this year, not only individually but as a team.
I got two there. I'm not going to go long. I like Wando. I loved them last year. They were in that preseason tournament last year at Shipyard, and I was a fan. I said, I might pick them next year. Not sure if I'm gonna pick them or not, but at 25, I like that. And then Southside Christian as well. I mean, there's a good chance they win half their games at least just showing up. So I like their chances down there at 24.
And one that sticks out is Crescent. We know had a hell of a season last year, kind of bowed out in the playoffs, but they got two arms with Linker and Roberts that I think are going to make some noise in that 3A classification. Got a chance to be pretty good this year if the bats can come along a little bit better than last year. But those are two of those teams we'll see at Shipyard.
Ooh, wait a minute
two
now.
Of those.
At the
Wando and AR.
At the preseason showdown?
At the preseason showdown.
Shipyard showdown.
Ain't nothing better. Hey, then we're going to move here. Here's another one. Berkeley at 20, AC Florida at 19, Lexington at 18, Clinton at 17, Gray Collegiate at 16. Clinton would be higher if me and Sammy didn't have to go to Arby's. But which one here stands out to you guys?
If Arby's, we're still be there if we were in line at Arby's right now waiting our sandwich. That would be a 2-year wait. And here's, the Flora Lexington one, right? Sitting there in 18, 19. I think if it weren't for their coaches, a lot of things, this is two teams that are going to be young, right? But they're both really well coached. And a lot of people, I think, might be writing them off, but they're so well coached that they're gonna do some things, right? You got guys that have won state championships, that have won a whole lot of ball games, that are talented. They're just young, right? You look at Flora, people go, who are they gonna have? They lost everybody, blah blah blah, right? Carter Harrington, he was at preseason All-State, in North, and he's got a good arm, mid to upper 80s arm. They got some good young position players. Same thing with Lexington. They got a couple of former junior future guys. They got another Cromer. I feel like there's another Cromer every couple of years that keep coming out of there. That's going to South Carolina. But both those guys are so well coached. They're always going to be in a position. They're probably, I don't know. Maybe we've been talking about this for a while. Maybe they're a little low on here, but they're going to find their way towards the top just because of who those guys they got at the helm of those staffs over there.
I think all 5 of those teams, just the name of those teams, I would be shocked if any of those guys are not good. And like you said, there's several of those that are a lot lower than I would have expected them to be. It's like you said, you got a defending state champion right there that's not in the top 10.
We'll probably catch some flack for that. And Berkeley at 20 is compared to where they were, but they should win every game that Mr. Greer's on the mound. You would think. So they still got a chance as well. Another good coach with them. So those, like you said, throwing Berkeley in there with a young group with a good coach. So it'd be interesting to see how those 3 stack up this year. You move on here. How about this one at 15? It's probably break the internet at Fox Creek. Lugoff Elgin at 14, Powdersville at 13, Lawrence at 12, and Hanahan at 11. Also 2 Shipyard teams in this little group here as well.
Coach, this group right here, talk about some arm strength in this group right here. I'm just going to I'm going to go a little generality here on this one. We got a bunch of arm strength in this group. We got upper 80, low 90s arms all in this group right here. And that's you're sitting here in 5 teams that aren't in the top team, and you got multiple guys on each team that got arms. Lugoff's got multiple guys that are upper 80s, low 90s. Fox Creek, we know for sure, has got upper 80s. They got another left-hander that's got an uber athletic left-hander. Hillary, left-hander, outfielder that's talented. Obviously, Powdersville. Lauren's got Goss upper 80s, low 90s, 90, 92. I mean, it's a special group, and Hanahan's just got a bunch of, they got the Gomes brothers that are still floating around there. So it's a talented group with a bunch of power arms that are outside the top 10. So these guys can make some noise in this group.
Yeah, I don't want to jump on. I don't want to take Drew's thunder because I know he wants to talk about Powdersville. So I'm going to skip on Powdersville. Much as I like them and Coach Padgett, I'm going to skip on. I like that Lawrence team right there. Last year I was a big give me the boys from Greenwood, but I might have to go down the road and check on the Raiders this year. Give me the boys from Lawrence this time. We'll see.
Contrary to belief here, I'm not going to go over Powdersville. I'm just going to – you covered enough there. Mike Padgett told me I could not talk about them since I'm bad luck. So we will not be talking about the Patriots here. They are in the Palmetto Classic, which we'll be covering. So I'll get to see them very early. Shocker, right? Very often. Who do I see more, Seneca or Powdersville?
I think now that McGovern's gone, it's going to be Powdersville.
But it's funny. Time out, real quick. I gotta before Drew talks about it. So Austin, the last 2 Saturdays. Now Drew, he lives like 1 minute from Clemson. He's gone out to watch the Tigers scrimmage. He's obviously, as you guys can tell in the back, he's a big diehard Tiger fan. So when has he gone out to watch the Tigers scrimmage? On Saturday. Guess who's thrown on Saturdays? McGovern. He just can't help himself. He has watched McGovern pitch 754 times in the past 3 years.
They could be related, live together. He's trying to be his agent.
That's the secret family we were talking about. That's the secret family.
Coach Probst.
We've got to get off this subject now, or Austin rolls with it. Gosh.
Yeah. Just keep moving.
Drew Probst.
Keep moving here. As we go through 6 through 10.
They're going to make a TV show about you like 2 days. I don't know what we're going to call it.
Oh, God. Moving on. At number 10 is Dorman. Going to be a big surprise for some here. At number 9 is JL Mann. 8 is River Bluff. 7, James Island. And the Blue Ridge Tigers coming in at 6.
Ooh.
That's
Fighting awesome. Travis Henson's are coming in hot.
Another talented group here. There's a lot of coin flips in here, right? Obviously, we got a 5A defending state champion in there at number 8. JL Mann, big time arm strength up there. They're going to score enough. Dorman, and this is a weird comment, sleeping a little bit on Dorman at number 10. They got a couple arms. They got some position players, right? Obviously they got the super uber talented freshmen in there, but they got a bunch of other guys that's talented arms in there. So this is going to be a good group. I think there's some teams, and obviously Coach Jolly can coach, and they're coming off a group or coming off a year where I think he's they're hungry. They're hungry, and they as he told us, he never wants to experience another year like they had last year. So they're ready to make some noise. So I'd put some more money down on Dorman and make some noise this year.
If I remember correctly, the Blue Ridge Fighting Tigers are the reigning Steve Sanders Invitational champions. Unless I could be wrong.
I'm not totally sure, but you might be correct.
I'm pretty sure they are.
We can go with it.
I think I was there, so I should know. But that was also the day they were giving out free donuts at the concession stand. So yeah, I mean, I think all those teams. I'm gonna be serious here while y'all are joking around, but all 5 of those are that's a good group.
But Blue Ridge returns a lot. They ran into some injuries last year in the playoffs. With James Island, it's going to be interesting to see how they are on the mound, and we'll get to see them early at Shipyard. And then, man, I think we had them highly ranked last year as well. And the expectations did not work out. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys swinging as well. And then Dorman with
they had the injury.
Yeah, Coach
Mann had the injury bug too last year.
They did, yeah. So
He'll
They
have
didn't have
them
the
out
injury
there.
bug. They had.
They'll be fine. He'll have them out there throwing those weighted balls and stuff, and they'll be fine. They'll be throwing them off the side of somebody's brick wall in their dugout. They'll be ready.
We'll see them early in the Palmetto Classic too, and then River Bluff and Dorman will catch down in Optera.
I know both of you are gambling, man. Over under. Let's go 6.5 home runs. Cade Norton this year.
Over.
I'm going over. Way over. Let's go 10.
I'm gonna go 12. I'm gonna go 12.
Oh, 12. I'm going over.
You heard
I was
first.
going to
12
throw
homers.
I was going to throw a little something out there, but we might save it to next week.
I think he had 9 last year. So does he get 3 more?
Because there's somebody on number 8 right there that I want to throw out over under on too, but we'll wait till next week.
Over under. This is an easy one for me. Over under does River Bluff. I mean, Bo Hollins hit 19 last year.
That's where I was about to go. I was going to save it the next week, but you ruined it. So we'll go over.
Sorry.
We'll have our gambling line scroll across the bottom on next week's show with the over-unders and
Coach, you're going over
odds.
I know.
I
take it back because I don't think he'll get pitched to 19 times this year.
I was at their scrimmage the other night. The first 8 pitches he saw were 8 balls.
Yeah. I would if I was coaching against him, I don't even think I would go to that trouble. I think I would be the guy that whistles from the dugout and says, "Hey."
See, you're that guy. That you know what? I get it. It's the playoff. If it's especially these preseason tournaments, let's see what you got, Big Daddy.
Yeah,
I want to see one go out of the park too.
Yeah, well, when you've got your freshman in there who has never been on the mound before, and he hits one 600 feet off of him, and he gets his feelings hurt for the rest of the year, and
mental toughness.
You
got to learn to figure it out.
Yeah, well,
it's fine. It ain't for everybody.
Built different
for everybody. Hey, we're gonna
keep moving.
Let's break these top 5 down. We're gonna go one at a time here as we slowly unveil these. Coming in at number 5, they'll be down at Optera Solutions Tournament. Is West Ashley. Another arm strength.
We got another arm strength. We got talented. We got kind of talent all over their field, right? We got arm strength. We got commitments all over the field. We got that. I mean, talk about a region. We got a couple teams in that region that's in the top 5 there. So I mean, it's those guys are. You got a couple guys. You got a guy going to South Carolina. You got a guy going to College of Charleston. You got a kid going to North Greenville out of there. I mean, it's a talented group, Duke. I mean, Duke. I mean, do we have them too low? It's West Ashley. I mean, those guys obviously got a new coach running the ship down there. So see how they, what kind of team they're going to be down there with how they're going to run some things. But from a talent standpoint, and we'll see them early on, West Ashley is going to have a chance to be as talented as a group as anyone out there. So they're gonna. Then it's guys that have played a lot of baseball as well. It's not just it's a talented group that's just kind of all of a sudden they've grown up fast. Those kids have been in the fire for 3-4 years and gonna be at it and be hungry to kind of knock off that team up top that we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Watch out.
Now, I hadn't seen the top 5 yet, so I don't know who we're talking about.
Austin, you'll get to see the number 5 West Ashley very early in the year.
Yeah, looking forward to it. You
can't hide his excitement, guys.
I love that. I love that tournament. It's my favorite tournament of the year.
Not the Shipyard.
Just make sure you
just in general. I get to go to both of them. That's the best part. I get to go check it all
out of the concession stand when the.
Well, River Bluff's got that big tower back there. I can watch them from.
We move on to number 4 here. The Prep baseball crew will see this team early as well in North Myrtle Beach down at Coastal Invitational. Arm strength again.
Coach, why not? 90-91 sinker baller. You got Oxen down back there catching them up. I mean, I think and I don't want to jump ahead of ourselves. I think our top 4 are going to match up with about anybody's top 4 across the country that are going to be out there. And it's a group, North Myrtle, and they got some young guys floating through there as well that are going to be going in there that I don't know what they got obviously in the water up there in Myrtle, but they keep getting in some young guys that move into the area that keep floating in there. That coach does a great job of recruiting, developing some guys coming through there. But it's a group that, he's heading off over there to Vanderbilt and going to be a tough. He's kind of nasty. It's pure arm strength with some sink in there, and an uber athletic catcher that can kind of bounce around and do some things and swing the bat as well. So it's a tough group, and I'm fun. It's good to see those guys play early.
The word of the day thus far for Sammy has been Uber. He said the word Uber 3 times.
Well, I took I took a bunch of Ubers last weekend, so I'm on the Uber train.
You.
Uber. We're going to get to Sammy's favorite team in the whole entire country here at number 3, which we will get to check out early as well. It is the TL Hannah Yellow Jackets at number 3.
I'm not talking about them. Because I've been trying to. I'm moving on. I'm gonna let you talk about them because I'm biased towards them. Because
so
I'm out.
So Hannah is your team, like Drew's Powdersville. You've moved into the Hannah attendance zone. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, my kids are now zoned to go to Hannah.
So he's going to stop playing for the big red box and go play for the Yellow Jackets.
Oh my God.
We're actually scrimmaging the big red box next weekend. My son's team is, so don't worry about it.
Drew, I think Drew needs to elaborate more on Hannah because he's about to go see him in a couple of weeks at the. I've already forgot what you said the name of that tournament.
Hannah's
was.
at Optera, correct?
They're not playing. In
the, no, where is Hannah at? IP.
Yeah, they're at IP.
They're at
We're going to
IP.
see them at.
Are they not hosting
Shock
the
City?
thing up there
in
anymore?
Shock City.
So they're playing in both.
No, they're not in the Palmetto Classic.
No,
Palmetto
they're hosting it. They're not in it.
They're hosting it.
They're playing down
to the.
Yeah, they're playing down to IP.
Hang on,
Coach, with the talent they have, they can play at the IP.
Back up.
They can play at They can play at all of them.
They're hosting the tournament, but they're not playing in the tournament.
Well, you go through them. Okay, well, I'll go through it since Coach can't talk. You got Jackson Robinson on the mound. You got Reese Oakley, Seth Manning. So there's some more arm strength guys.
Craddock.
They got a Craddock at shortstop, who they're just churning shortstops out every year. I'm not sure if Craddock's any good, but I've heard a lot of things about him.
Have they ever had a good shortstop there?
I don't think they've had one of those either.
They've only had 12.
So obviously they've got talent, and we'll see just how far they rise up, if they can rise up 2 more spots to take that number 1 spot.
I would say there's something in the water up there, but there actually is something in the water in Anderson. If any of you have ever lived in Anderson, there's something actually in the water.
It's just on the Hannah side, not the West Side side.
No, it's Anderson as a whole.
It's on the east side, not the west side.
As a former Anderson resident, I can speak on the water.
More importantly, what's in the water that's making those kids leave Anderson to come down to Columbia to go to school?
Why are you asking me?
Because you're a Tiger fan. I'm just wondering.
Yeah,
I might be a fan, but I don't do the recruiting, so I can't answer that question. I might be a fan, but I don't do the recruiting. I can't answer it.
That's because they don't want to live at home because there's something in the water. They want to get out of the water.
They're trying to get out of the water. Yeah.
Jeez, y'all are awful.
Nobody has ever left Anderson to move to Columbia for living circumstances. Ever.
Let's get back on track here. You moved to number 2, a reigning state champ in Catawba Ridge. Once again, the theme of the Power 25 is arm strength.
And probably, Caden Gluber, right? Sinker baller. He, just like our boy down in North Myrtle, they're like twins almost, right? The kind of a lower slot 90-91 sinker baller coming in there. But, right, they got also, and you hate saying kind of a soft tosser because he's a mid to upper 80s Peyton Dean, left-hander that's going to keep him in every game. But also they got, a catcher that throws 155 miles an hour from behind the plate with Sam Schwab that about destroyed one of our buckets up there at Clemson, when the kid, was at second base, couldn't catch it. But they're a talented team all over the place, right? I mean, I remember watching them last year, and they, in the Optera early on, and they hit 4 home runs in the first inning. And it's not only just kind of their so-called superstars. They got depth, and that was last year, but they're gonna keep coming. I mean, they got Jackson Mullen on the mound, Kyle Charleston commit, who's another upper 80s, low 90s guy, and it's just guy after guy after guy. They got Britton Nash, another 25 that's going to come through there. So it's a bunch of dudes that can all put it together, and obviously they're used to winning, and they're going to want to back it up and do it again. So they got the talent across the board, and yeah, they lost Jake McCoy, but they returned pretty much everybody else. So we kind of talked about it earlier. Yeah, they won a state championship, but who are they returning? Almost everybody. So they're gonna have a chance to do it again.
So you're saying there's a chance that we get a back?
There's a chance.
There's a chance we have the same matchup in the state championship we had last year as we do this year with Catawba and North
There's
Marlin.
a chance.
I think the Trojans might try to say something about that. Or the boys from Greenwood.
The boys from Lawrence.
The boys from Lawrence.
The boys from Lawrence.
Yeah, last year I said, I think I said, it might have been on this exact episode of the show that I said, the chicks dig pitching. And y'all made fun of me, but it seems as though the PBRSC staff that made this top 25 digs pitching as well.
And speaking of pitching, I think we're about to get into a team with some pitching.
I have yet to hear anybody say this team can score a lot of runs, but we're not sure how they're going to get anybody out.
Catawba, we talked about that with James Allen, but they're in the top 10. Watch out. Okay, it's time. The number one team. It feels like we rank this team in the top 5 every year, and somehow they fall out of the top 20 every year. Here's to hoping this year is different.
Is it Westside?
Yeah.
Sorry. I ranked them. I think I ranked them in the top 5 last year. And
no, I think you picked them or Broome to win the state championship.
Just tell us who number 1 is. Just stop.
Number 1 is the Green Wave at Somerville.
There's a rumor down there that they got a guy who can swing it pretty good.
I hadn't seen this guy yet. Is he any good?
PJ Morlando, I think's his name. I think he's like one of the best hitters in the country. I think if I'm accurate on that one.
Well, word is they got an arm. That's okay too.
They got
they got a few arms. I mean, right? Obviously, you got PJ Morlando, not even arguably, the best player in our state, and then arguably one of the best players in the country. And he's going to have a chance to go, in the draft. He's going to have a chance to go in the top 15 picks. Obviously to each their own. If some team, they're gonna pay for the bat. Whether they, if they think defensively and all that stuff's going to be out there. But he's gonna go in the top half the first round, which is incredible. Make a lot of money, but you take away him, and they got. Rumor was there was a young man in Messina up to 97, 98 yesterday, and they got 4 or 5 other guys that are 86 mile an hour plus. And I mean, I guess the chicks dig the power arms. And they got a new coaching staff this year with Coach Manis down there at the helm. And somebody asked me one year, this wasn't even here recently. They said, "Hey, is he a good coach?" And I go, he has won everywhere he's been. He won when he was at Richland Northeast, who's historically has never really won. He's won at Dreer, who historically has never really won. So he's going to win. He's going to win at Somerville, who is historically has won and has an uber talented team. There's my word of the day for you there, Austin. Who's got a talented team like that with the best player in the country, with the talented arms and supporting staff to go around him. And he knows how to score runs when people are not pitching to his horses, and he's going to be able to get guys around that field. So Somerville has the superstars. They have the power arms. They got commitments across the field. It's going to be hard. I think this year they're going to have the team to do it. I know they're going to run into some tough teams, and their region's extremely tough down there this year. Very talented, but I think this is the year that they're not going to fall out of grace, and they're going to keep up in their graphic design crew and keep sending us some off from graphics and tagging us and stuff and
Yeah, we got to hire
pumping us
that
out
guy.
there. But
He's still there.
I don't
We got to
think
hire him.
that guy's a superstar.
Bring him on.
But yeah,
He makes
I
more
think
money than the three
Somerville.
of us combined.
Yeah, I don't think we can afford to pay him. But Somerville's they're as good as anyone out there, I think, this year.
Here's the question of the day.
Mm-hmm. I think I know where this is going.
Where do they fall in the top 25 in the country?
It's not where I thought it was going.
It's
And are they number one in the regional rankings like Oceanside was last year?
I would say no right now. I would say no. I was nationally, I'd give them in the top 15, 20, top 15 or 20, I would give them.
We'll have those.
But like I
come
was
out
talking to a
eventually.
guy last weekend. There's a team in Ohio that's got 10 Division I commits, and like all SEC, ACC schools. You know what I mean?
Good.
Like, is that something that you look for? You know, and that's not a knock on Somerville. I just think it's, and that's what Oceanside had last year. And Somerville ain't far off, but those rankings are all going to be coming out here soon. So we're going to be diving into that, but
I can't
we're
wait
going to pump them
till next week when you on live television have to make a decision between the Green Wave and the Yellow Jackets. I can't wait.
We're going live. We're going live television.
We're streaming this live to Twitter, to everything.
It says live stream right above Drew's head. It's live. We're doing it.
Where did you think Drew was going with this question, by the way?
I thought he was going to ask you who you pick between Somerville and Tijuana for the 5A state championship, but that's not what he said.
We can't go there yet. That's not time.
That's why
we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're going next week.
John's not back here playing Piano Man yet.
No.
It's Rocket Night in the Rocket City.
Rocket Night is not the name of the song. It's Rocket Man.
I said it's Rocket Night in the Rocket City for me. And we're going to play Rocket Man as I throw the first pitch.
Rocket.
I'm a little upset
as
that
I
Louisville
ride.
Lions didn't.
You know how you go to Wake Forest game and the Demon Deacon rides out on a motorcycle? Louisville, I'm going to ride out on the crotch rocket in the middle of the field.
Where were the Louisville Lions in the top 25? I need to know. Where are
They're
they?
not in the top 25, but you'll have to get a subscription to see their ranking in the 1A rankings.
Buy one.
Those will be released soon.
Yeah, very soon. We'll wrap this up on 72, but next episode, 73, is the big one. The predictions are coming in for the state champions. We'll make our picks. Hey, we're going to add something in this year too. Player of the year for each classification.
You got to do your research this time, Austin.
Listen.
Do not pick Broom.
The last thing that we had any type of pick on, I won. Nobody mentioned it, so this is going to be 2 in a row.
But this is related to high school baseball, not football.
I don't care.
But
If I can tell you how the Toledo Rocket football team is going to do in the bowl game, I can tell you how the Somerville Green Wave is going to do in high school baseball. Just get your mind.
Do we need to let you know who's going off the P27 though this year? First.
That would be great. We need can we get a section of the website that's called the Portal Tracker? I need to know who's left and went where before I make my picks.
We'll make a state champion, runner-up pick, and then a sleeper team for each classification.
Y'all claim that I'm an old man. The old man side of me just assumes that if you live in the attendance zone, you go to school there, and that's not. I'm gonna stop.
That's the old school way. The old school
way is I just assume, hey, that kid lives right there. He's gonna play.
But you know what happens when you assume?
Yeah, it's gotten me before.
Hey, we're good. We're just gonna cap it.
What kind of ice cream are we going to get down at the shipyard? By the way, gentlemen, that's
Coconut.
important.
Hopefully, Captain D's
Coconut.
buying. If Captain Eddie's buying, I'll get whatever we need.
Cap Manny.
Oh, God.
Cap Manny did ask me if I need a hotel. I said no. I just need some ice cream and a barbecue quesadilla.
Mm-hmm. Tell him you do need the hotel. That way, me and Drew can pick whichever one's the nicest.
No, I purposely put you guys together
On Ashley Phosphate Road.
Is Blake going to be with us? Is he going to be?
Blake will be at the Coastal Invitational.
Yeah, he'll be at the Coastal.
Okay, so he's not going to be sleeping on the pull-out couches.
We're done. Hey, we're going to wrap this one up. We're at 50 minutes now. So from all three of us at Prep Baseball South Carolina, we hope you have a great week.